good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on your geographical location, as we are here from different part of the world and different countries. Greetings to everybody here. Thank you for joining us, and a warm welcome to the third session of JWF Global Youth Leadership Program for 2024, which is a comprehensive year-round initiative designed for you all and a selected group of individuals who are eager to learn, to collaborate, and to learn about different opportunities and grow professional as well while interacting with different experts. And as you all are aware that this program is specially designed for the individuals from 18 to 32 years of age and especially focus on the developing of leadership, then teamwork and about the communication skills. And then we interact with our JWF executive team, guest speakers, and different experts with different areas of interest uh, around the world. So, um, as we are here today, and I just want to remind you that why we are organizing this and what are the goals of this program. We are very happy to have you all joined us here today as well. And we already had two successful sessions, and they were really great and interactive. And we appreciate the opportunity that we get to learn from each of you while interacting. So this program provides an opportunity to connect with professionals, experts from the UN system, from global platforms, different organizations, and that also foster the experiential learning through youth-led projects. As we are gonna talk more about that in as we move ahead of our session today. So when we transfer the skills through research, field work, and then on social, economic, political, and then of course the environmental issue that is also the biggest concern of this century, and then we eventually contribute to the sustainable development goals. And exclusively to talk about why the youth leadership is important for sustainable development, and we are having our two expert speakers today. And just to make you brief and to let you know all that, youth leadership is very important for sustainable development, and it comprises of 5 P's. I'm not sure if you know about that, but I just want to recite it again. That it is people, planet, prosperity, partnership, and peace. So youth represent the people aspect of being at the forefront of the sustainable initiatives. And as we are moving ahead to our program today, that is Youth Leadership for Sustainable Development, we are honored to have our expert speaker, Kehkashan Basu. She's the founder and president of Green Hope Foundation. And I would like to introduce Kehkashan to brief so you can learn more about her. She's an iconic global influencer, educator, environmentalist, and champion of women and children rights. She's also the TEDx speaker, a climate reality mentor, author, musician, and then peace and sustainability campaigner. So she is an all-rounder, and we are having a great opportunity to learn from her today and to learn from her experience, that how she started and how she did. And she will love to answer your question, as well as we'll be also having some question and answer sessions today. She is also the recipient of Canada's Meritorious Service Medal and only the Canadian to win the International Children Peace Prize, and Forbes 30 Under 30, first ever winner of the Voice Global Gorbachev Scholar's Legacy Award for her work on nuclear disarmament. And there is a lot that I can, tell more about Kehkashan, but that will be great if Kehkashan can take the floor and will be sharing her experience today with us. So over to you, Kehkashan. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Priyanka, Chamray, Mehmet. Very lovely to be here. Hello, everyone. As was mentioned, my name is Kehkashan. I am from Toronto, Canada, but currently I'm based out of New York as an MBA candidate at Cornell University, focused on sustainability, which is my passion, and localizing the SDGs. I am a United Nations human rights champion and the founder president of Green Hope Foundation. And I wanted to really share with you my journey in creating a more sustainable world. Today, that has been something I've pretty much dedicated my entire life towards. And it's something that I work towards daily, inspiring and working with other passionate, like-minded people to create this better world for all. So my journey really started almost right from birth. As I like to say, I was born in the year of the new millennium, the same year the global fraternity adopted the Millennium Development Goals. And it was also in the same month that the Earth Charter came into being. And that was this global document that kind of put forward what we as a planet, as human race, need to do in order to protect our planet. So that was kind of like the starting point of my journey, and also the fact that I was born on World Environment Day, 5th June. So I honestly thought that I was preordained to become an eco warrior. But my journey, like apart from being born in the year of the MDGs adopted an Earth Charter and World Environment Day, it really started when at the age of 7, I saw the image of a dead bird with its belly full of plastic, was deeply disturbed by the fact, like just thinking about the fact that this bird had to choke to death on plastic, made me realize that there was something severely wrong with human beings for allowing such an innocent creature to suffer through so much pain. And that made me decide to go out there and take my first action to protect the world, which was to plant my first tree on my 8th birthday. And that being World Environment Day, I thought it was like the best way to kind of jumpstart my sustainability advocacy. But I realized that, it would have to be much more than that if I wanted to truly make a difference. So I started mobilizing other children my age, encouraging them to take actions within their own spheres of influence. And based on that work, I was invited to speak at my first United Nations conference at the age of 11, addressing the UN Environment Programme's Children in Need Conference in Indonesia. But it was really the following year in 2012 that I had this like next moment of change, because the Rio Plus 20 Earth Summit took place in Brazil, being the largest sustainable development conference of the time. And out of 50,000 delegates there were only 5 people under the age of 18, with me being one of them. I was the youngest speaker at the summit as well. And that was when I realized that there was the severe lack of inclusivity of children, of young people, of women, of underserved communities, of literally anyone who should be involved in creating a better world, but they weren't. So to address this lack of inclusivity, on my return home, I founded Green Hope Foundation to provide people with a platform of learning that turns into ground level action. And then what began as a 12-year-old girl's dream is now a global organization working across 28 countries with over 500,000 people on all aspects of sustainable development. So localizing the SDGs essentially through environmental conservation, social equity, and economic stability. Now, we came into being before the SDGs were adopted. This was right when like the Commission on Sustainable Development was slowly transitioning to, that became the high level political forum. And eventually like you had all of these open working groups, intergovernmental negotiations that led to the adoption of the SDGs. And as a young person and as a young woman, I was a part of all of these negotiations, bringing the voice of young people and women from civil society to all of these, these areas of negotiation and discussion. And it was also around the same time, at the age of 12, that I got elected as Global Coordinator for Children and Youth of the United Nations Environment Program. That made me the youngest person ever to hold that position and the first minor. And so it was like very important for me to always represent the interests of those most vulnerable, and especially as a young person, as a young woman. So that was very important when I was advocating for our voices to be heard during the adoption process of the SDGs. And when the SDGs were finally adopted, it was like, okay, we have this new set of goals and targets that were actually so intrinsically linked to the work that my team and I at Green Hope Foundation were already doing. And so it was really this no-brainer that, we would work to implement these SDGs. And that became even more apparent because I was the youngest out of the 193 young people, each selected to represent, each UN member state, 193 UN member states, when the SDGs were adopted at the General Assembly. So I was like, okay, this is exactly what we work on. So it's really important for us to not understand that it's not just governments who have, this responsibility of turning and putting together the development agenda of 92 and sustainability agenda of 2000, the NDCs, but really understanding how we can localize the SDGs and enable people to act on them so that we're truly able to achieve the agenda 2030. And one thing that aspect that was really important is that we have these 17 goals, but the work that we did was really all about intersectionality, because none of these goals and targets, the problems didn't come at us one by one, they came all together, which meant that there were intersections that needed to be addressed. And therefore, localizing the SDGs was of critical importance, because we needed to be able to actually understand how to address all of these unique problems and unique impacts with unique solutions that were driven from the ground up. So essentially this local challenge where you have local solutions for local problems. And so, I wanted to share some of the examples of the work that we're doing today to localize these SDGs. So, we saw that there was a need to address the interlinkage between Goal 4, quality education, Goal 7, clean energy. So we built solar-powered computer labs. But that differed in different parts of the world. So in rural Liberia, in the community that was still suffering from the impacts of the civil war, plus climate change, the solar-powered computer lab reaches out to at-risk youth, bringing them away from the vicious cycle of drugs and crime, providing them with IT skills so that they're able to uplift their community and get good jobs and uplift themselves as well. But when we implemented this in rural Western India in a migrant community, the solar-powered computer lab became a lab for STEM education for girls, to ensure that girls who'd never had access to technology were able to get this really important education, graduate high school, get good jobs, and ensure gender equality in their community, and use their STEM education to innovate for environmental conservation. We built our solar-powered Academy of Hope for women and girls deep inside rural Bangladesh, in a community affected severely by climate change. So it provides climate resilience education to girls in the morning, so 13, and it functions as a sewing school for women in the evenings. This is primarily addressing intersection of Goal 5, gender equality, and Goal 8, decent work and economic growth. So the sewing school enables women to get these entrepreneurship skills, to stitch clothes and various items, and then selling that to earn a stable source of income. So these are some of the clothes that they actually made, the girls and the women. And now, as part of our sexual and reproductive health and rights work that we do, we use the school as a way to make sanitary napkins and break the taboos surrounding menstrual hygiene and women's health within these really rural conservative communities. During the pandemic, we realized that COVID and climate change did not mix well at all. So severe lack of access to education, so Goal 4. So our solar-powered mobile library is taking books to the doorstep of thousands of out-of-school girls, women, and children across countries in Asia and Africa. And combined with that, we distribute routers to various communities as well, so that they're able to have access to technology. And in many of these communities, we actually learned that, while working with them, that a lot of these women did not even know how to sign their own names. So that made it was a lot higher risk for fraud and exploitation. So the basic kind of teaching them to how to sign their name, how to read documents and know when they were being fooled and when they weren't. And then, once we cover education, we realized that, okay, we need to, these are communities that we are addressing education, but they're also suffering from a severe hunger crisis. So how do we address Goal 2? So using agrivoltaics, so keeping with utilizing gold-7 as a catalyst, we utilize agrivoltaics to empower rural women farmers to increase their crop yield and earn a stable source of income. So agrivoltaics utilizing solar energy, dual use for both energy and land, and facilitating agriculture, increasing crop yield by over 30%. So we're able to really ensure food security in this way. But then food security looks different in different parts of the world. So in Kiribati, small island developing state suffering from increased rates of climate change-induced rising sea levels. So that means the saline water is coming in and polluting the groundwater as well as the soil. So you can't grow food there. So in pots we work with indigenous women and communities to grow their own food so that they're actually able to have food security there. In Peru, on the outskirts of Lima, we work with indigenous women there to reclaim land that had previously been used only for cash crops. So it was rendering it infertile. And now we're reclaiming that, planting indigenous crops to ensure food security. And here in Canada, where I'm from, we are official partners of the Toronto District School Board, as well as several other school boards. So as environmental education partners, we educate the children and the young people on how they can grow their own food in their own spheres of influence, and particularly in Ontario, where our province has 52% of the country's arable land. So, it's really important for young people to know why it's so important that they use that to solve food insecurity issues within their communities. And, we see that food insecurity, gender inequality, lack of economic growth and development, they create a lot of these unique problems in different parts of the world. So one of these very unique issues that we address is when we work to empower tiger widows through fish farming in the Sundarbans, which is the world's largest mangrove forest. And these women are ostracized because not only because they're widows, but because of the way they lost their husbands to tiger attacks, hence the name tiger widows. And so, they have no economic opportunity. They do not get any of the benefits from anyone, really. And so we are working with them to, one, repopulate the local ponds with indigenous fish species that had previously been wiped out, and then training them through providing them with entrepreneurship skills to fish farm, to keep part of the produce for themselves, to sell the rest, gain a sustainable source of income, and make sure that there is enough fish left in the pond to repopulate and actually create a sustainable ecosystem. And because of the necessity of people actually needing people to fish and have food security, eventually, slowly and steadily, the other village people actually do buy from them, because then when nothing happens to them, they're like, okay, so why did we ostracize these women? So it's really a way of not just creating change on the ground, but also changing mindsets. And sticking with, addressing women and girls' health and safety, we realized that it's not just the physical health that is impacted. There's the mental health aspect that is addressed in Goal 3 of the SDGs is something that we needed to work on too. So we built solar-powered streetlights in several climate vulnerable communities, especially those struck by climate disasters, because we realized that this was making women very afraid to come out of their homes in the evenings, women and girls, because they felt unsafe, because a lack of light at night meant greater risk of abuse, exploitation, and trafficking. So this was our way of reducing psychological stress and making sure that they had safe spaces, which in turn improved their mental health and also, of course, improved their physical health because they were safer. Sanitation stations, ensuring that people have access to physical hygiene. So creating this during the pandemic and sticking with it in climate disaster zones thereafter. Building toilets. We don't working on the ground. Goal 6 was something that was talked about a lot in different UN processes, but implementing it on the ground and seeing it firsthand is completely different, because you realize that there are people who have literally never had access to toilet all their lives, The lady who's in this picture, actually, when we built this toilet for women and girls in her village, she sat through the entire installation, like not moving at all. And, when our members asked her, like, what, do you not want to go rest? She said no, because she had dreamed of this her entire life. She never thought that she would be able to see this happen in her lifetime, but she would now have access to a toilet. And not just that, her daughter and grandchildren would be able to grow up with toilets in the community. So then, we realized that this is really how we need to kind of work to address all of these challenges, bringing a smile on people's faces and localizing all of these solutions. So another example is solar powered cookers and clean cookers. So looking different in different parts of the world. So in rural Western India, our solar powered cookers are targeted towards a migrant community of women. So the women are then able to not just utilize clean methods of cooking that reduces respiratory health issues, but also reduces greenhouse gas emissions. And the food is being, when they leave early in the morning, their children often they don't want to eat the cold food that's left behind. So that increases rates of malnutrition. So with the solar powered cookers, that's actually able to keep the food warm. And so we're addressing all of these different issues just by training them and distributing solar powered cookers. In Bangladesh, this was a week ago, we just built clean cook stoves there. So instead of burning the traditional firewood that was really harmful for the women's health, the smoke would come into their faces directly and cause respiratory issues. So the smoke now exists through a pipe. And instead of burning firewood, they utilize the jute residue that previously used to go to waste. And just like a couple of days ago, we distributed and trained women on using clean cook stoves in Liberia. So electric cook stoves, actually, that were really dedicated to ensuring that we were able to protect women's health and ensure that they didn't have respiratory issues, and also reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And so we saw, and this is just an example of this current one, the solar powered water farm and distillation system that we installed in Kiribati. So I spoke earlier about how Kiribati is suffering from climate change induced rising sea levels, so groundwater being polluted. And so they don't have access to clean drinking water as a result. So the solar water farm and distillation systems provides them with the basic access to clean drinking water, purifying through distillation rainwater and groundwater. And of course, then you can utilize the water for their crops. And water security then looks different in different parts of the world. So that includes building deep bore tube wells in rural Bangladesh, for example, building rainwater harvesting systems. So adapting to climate change, making use of the increased monsoon seasons. So, and this is providing them with clean drinking water. And in Kenya, we work on distributing in rural communities reusable water storage containers so that girls do not have to walk miles in the sun to fetch clean drinking water, instead having the ability to store the water and then utilize the time to go to school. So you're really able to cut down all of those hours that are spent there. And in Kiribati, utilizing community events to ensure that we're able to distribute soap and water drums to ensure hygiene within these indigenous communities. And so for us, it's really about everyday actions, creating global impact. We understand that there are all of these global challenges that are facing our world today. And, looking at Agenda 2030, it's kind of daunting to see all these goals and targets outlined and thinking that, okay, what are we going to do? But for us, over the past more than a decade now, we have slowly and steadily been working towards a sustainable world by localizing all of these, the issues that are outlined in the UN. And when the SDGs were adopted, localizing the SDGs to create a better world. So one of the simplest examples of this is we plant indigenous fruit trees across the world, specifically targeted at communities that are suffering from food insecurity and other issues, land degradation, for example, and working with their women and girls, as well as the rest of the community, to plant these indigenous fruit trees for long-term sustenance and to fight climate change. And from that first tree that was planted at our inception to now, where we've planted over 1.2 million trees across the world. And for us, that is just an example of how you can create that big change, starting with that one small action. The same goes for the work we do on mangrove restoration. So this is in the Sundarbans, again, the world's largest mangrove forest. So planting thousands of mangroves and working with the indigenous communities there, especially the women, to restore these mangroves and the natural protection against the climate change-induced disasters, to protect not just the ecosystems, but also the lives and livelihoods. And with that, we planted over 100,000 mangroves all across the world in 10 different countries. So everywhere from Indonesia to the Bahamas, to the UAE, to Suriname, to Vietnam, to all across the world, really. And then we take all of these actions that we're working on the ground back to the United Nations, so that we're really able to bridge this gap between the top down and bottom up processes. And by doing that, we've slowly and steadily kind of witnessed the evolution of how inclusivity has changed within the UN process, and how that is such a benefit, increased inclusivity, how that is such a benefit to how things are being discussed and how these issues are being discussed at the UN. So one very simple instance of that is the climate change conferences. So my first ever climate change conference was back in 2012 at Doha COP18. And that was when young children below the age of 18 were not allowed into the process. So I was only allowed in on one day that I was invited to speak there on Future Generations Day about the work that I was doing. And then when I went to each and every different conference to speak and share my work, slowly and steadily, we were able to see that actually getting more and more people in and learning about the work that was being going on the ground changed how we looked at inclusivity and localization of the SDGs at the highest levels of policy making. So 2017 was then that finally let young people in. But at the most recent climate change conference in Dubai COP18, COP28, my bad, I had 25 different speaking engagements. And what I really loved about every single one of them was they focused on all of the different intersections of climate with each of the SDGs. So whether that was energy or poverty or hunger or peace. And it really warmed my heart to know that, this was how the process had evolved, because there was this increased focus on localizing all of these challenges and solutions that were being discussed, including localizing the SDGs. And for us, it's really important to kind of bridge this gap between the top-down and bottom-up processes. So through empathy, through hard work, and through honesty, and ensuring that every single person is able to understand how they can create change within their own communities. So at Green Hope Foundation, I started it as a way to ensure that people all across the world had the opportunity to know what issues were happening around the world, or identifying issues within their communities, and then understanding how they could take concrete ground level actions to create a better world for all. And it's really our mantra is really very simple. It's just asking ourselves, what have we done to create change? What have I done to create change today? And once we think that, we're like, okay, is it the people that we're doing this with and the people we talk to, is it are we doing it because someone else told us to do it, because a parent, teacher, friend told us to do it, or if we saw someone else doing it, or do we want to do it because we are really passionate about this? And that answer for me and my team, that's very easy. But for those that we work with, it's just about identifying where their passions lie and how they can bring their unique experience and expertise to solve all of these global challenges, one kind of problem issue, one intersectional issue at a time. And slowly and steadily, we were able to kind of build up through all of these small actions to create global impact. So that, and given the fact that, we're young people driving this organization and creating change, for us, it's really about harnessing the potential of the amazing work that young people already do in creating change in that way, because we often get tokenized as just strikers and protesters and people who blame the government and private sector but don't do anything ourselves. And at Green Hope Foundation, as a young people and primarily young women-led organization, we seek to change that narrative of how youth are being viewed as change makers. So through all of our actions, we work to localize the SDGs, which in turn empowers youth as change makers who are bringing about positive change within their own communities to create a world where no one is left behind. So thank you very much, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Kehkashan. That was so powerful. You started just by, feeling about the bird, and I think that only started when you started feeling, being empath with all of the species around you and how you see the world. And you already explained a lot in your presentation. That's like a whole story, whole life story, that how you started. And the main highlight of the presentation was also that you almost covered every of the sustainable development goals, especially the one that designed in 2015 that we are now focusing on the 17 SDGs, right? And you are covering them all of all, and you are really young, and I'm sure that many of the young people are getting a lot of inspiration. And I would like to remind our participants here that please use this chat box to ask the questions from Kyrgyzstan and to put your comments, because she is a really a great women leader, doing wonders and making impacts, and she's really implementing the local initiatives, and by taking the bottom-up approach where even United Nations isn't getting a reach with that communities, and she's going there and implementing them. So that's really a great inspiration, and that of course needs the power of collaboration and content that eventually will make the world a better place to live. Thank you so much, Kehkashan. I'm sure that our participants will be having some questions.
Yes.
The question and answer floor after our second speaker. So, as moving ahead for the program, and Kehkashan, please stay connected with us as our participants will be having some questions if you're having time. And if you can, of course, we'd love to send your LinkedIn profile and your profile to all of the participants, so even later they can stay in touch with you and taking inspirations from you every time in the future. Our next speaker is Hayrunnisa Kalac, project manager at the Alliance for Shared Values. She's a dynamic young leader and community advocate dedicated to empowering communities and foster the understanding and engagement among diverse groups all around the world. She is having the Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from Rutgers University, complemented by minors in Religion and Korean Studies. She brings a unique interdisciplinary perspective to her work, and currently she is serving as project manager at the Alliance for Shared Values. She leads the young leaders in civic engagement program, empowering emerging leaders to make meaningful contributions to their communities. And beyond her professional achievements, she is actively involved in Chestnut Retreat Center, a local interfaith dialogue organization where she strives to facilitate dialogue and promote mutual understanding among various faith communities. And Hayrunnisa is passionate about the empowerment and inclusion, committed to uplift the women and youth within her community and also at a global level too. She is advocating for all of them and taking the stand and representing those unheard voices to be recognized. So over to you, Hayrunnisa. Thank you for joining us today. We would love to hear your experience and story, and we'll definitely be engaging with the question and answer later after your remarks. Over to you.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you for inviting me. I'd like to thank the Journalists and Writers Foundation. And I don't believe I'm the most qualified to talk about youth leadership, especially after everything Kehkashan showed with, what she's doing at Green Hope Foundation. It's so admirable. But I thought that my experience can be, relatable, or maybe offer a different perspective to some of you. All right, so I titled my presentation, My Leadership Efforts, the Good and the Bad. Looking back at, sort of my life and what I wanted to talk about today, I realized that, it's not been a smooth journey. I've had a lot of ups and downs, and I thought that it would be valuable to include all of it. I believe I was about in middle school when I needed to write a story. And, I was very nervous about it. I didn't have the confidence. I thought, I didn't want to fail. And I remember my dad had suggested that I, go and talk to this family friend that we had who was a writer. Maybe to give me some suggestions about how to write a successful story. And he told me, he said, "You're not going to succeed." He said, "You're going to fail. You're right. The story that you're going to write is going to fail." He said, "In fact, you're going to write about 25 stories that are going to be a failure before you write the one that's successful." And so it was a bit of a shock, but that day was an epiphany for me. The fact that there was a certain amount of failures I had to complete before I could reach my success. And so that was a theme that I saw a lot in my life. And, this suggestion from this family friend became a sort of like a stepping stone for me. And I learned not to be afraid of failure. And in a while, I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys what I mean when I say my failures. It's all here. I'm gonna show them all to you. But to briefly talk about me, I'm a Turkish American Muslim. I am a member of the Hizmet movement. Hizmet movement is a faith-inspired transnational civil society movement that promotes education, interfaith dialogue, and community service. And my parents were a part of the Hizmet movement, so I essentially was born into the movement. So I grew up with those values. I was born in Turkey. I moved to California and then New Jersey, and then I got married and moved to Pennsylvania. Until my 12th grade in high school, I changed 12 schools. So that was a lot for me in the sense of, having to learn how to adapt every time I changed locations. But it was a very valuable skill, I think, that I learned. I graduated from Brooklyn Amity High School in 2013, and I graduated from Rutgers University in 2017 with a degree in sociology, and I minored in religion and Korean. I studied abroad in Korea. Side note, if anyone has the opportunity to study abroad, I highly recommend it. It's a great opportunity to enhance your skills and to learn new things. Now I work as a project manager at the Alliance for Shared Values. I'm a volunteer at the Chestnut Retreat Center. I'm a wife, and I'm a mom of 3 chickens. I have 3 chickens that lay eggs for me every day. So I wanted to show you guys some of my leadership efforts over the years. My first effort was when I was about 8, 9 years old, when I lived in California. Like I mentioned, my parents were a part of these movements, and I grew up around them. They were organizing community service events, they were organizing interfaith events, and so that was really ingrained in me. And so my friends and I were like, you know what, we need a youth version of Hizmet, not just what the adults are doing. But so we decided to make a club, and we called it the Hizmet Club. But soon after, we couldn't even do anything. I ended up moving to New Jersey. And so that was my first fail. We created the club, and I was president, and I had the effort, it was the initiative there, but it didn't succeed. Then in high school, I was a part of the Young Peace Builders. This was not my initiative, but it was one of my leadership efforts, I would say. And it was an intercultural understanding project. We did community service activities with 2 groups. So it was a group of Muslim students and Jewish students. And we would come together to do community service projects. We visited each other's worship houses, and we celebrated each other's holidays. And that was a very successful leadership effort for me. And I believe Young Peace Builders is still continuing even today in New York. Another one of my initiatives was when I was in high school. Again, our school didn't have a newspaper or any kind of publication. And at the time, I was very interested in journalism. So with the help of my teachers, we formed the newspaper club, and we produced our first ever newspaper called Amity Voice. And I was the chief of editor-in-chief of the newspaper. So that was, I would say, another one of my success stories of my leadership efforts. So, you know, it was all over the place. You have some good days, you have some bad days. Then I joined the Rutgers University Turkish Student Association club at Rutgers. I think clubs are a great way to hone your leadership skills and gain valuable experience. So if you go to school or even in your communities, you can find different kinds of, you know, clubs. I would suggest anyone to try and find leadership roles in those clubs because they really get you prepared for a more professional lifestyle. And I feel like the Turkish Student Association really helped me develop those professional skills that I use now in my professional life. But what we did at RUTSA was we introduced my Turkish culture to the student body. We organized events, we collaborated with other clubs, and it was a very, once again, another one of my successful attempts. Then I think this was right after I graduated, or maybe during my last years of college. My friends and I decided that we wanted to start a platform where anyone, youth specifically, could present their opinions, you know, in a platform that was safe for them. And so we started it up. We had like the social medias, the websites. We even wrote up like contracts. Like I was like, this is gonna be my thing, you know, like it's gonna grow big. It did not, unfortunately. Something happened. I think I went to study abroad in Korea, and then something else happened. All of this, and we even had like huge binders and everything preparing us for this website that we were creating. But that was one of my fails. And I think that was one of the ones, because it was more of a time where I felt more, prepared. You know, I was like in college or maybe even graduating. And I was like, you know, at this point, I shouldn't be failing. Like, this is going to succeed. But once again, it didn't. And I was like, okay, I'm not there yet. You know, I guess I still have some failures in me. Sky Academy was another initiative that me and my friends founded. At the time, I was very involved with mentoring. We would mentor a lot of high school and college kids, but it was mostly either like educational mentoring, and we thought that there was a big gap in professional mentoring and encouraging students to do more community service and being more involved with their communities and being more aware of everything that's going on in the world. And so Sky Academy was formed to sort of fill that gap. And even though this was an effort in New Jersey, I moved to Pennsylvania, they are still continuing with that effort. When I moved to Pennsylvania, I saw that there was a great group of youth here, but once again, there wasn't anyone sort of leading them, helping them develop themselves. So a friend and I, we decided that, okay, we're gonna do this. We opened Beyond Youth PA. This was the meeting where we gathered everyone and we decided on our name. We decided what kind of projects we were going to do. We decided, the kind of efforts we would undertake. But then COVID happened and Beyond Youth sort of just failed as well. And I use the word fail freely because I feel that I'm not as afraid of that word anymore. So please don't find it weird when I say that this failed, because for me, failure is just a step to success, as I mentioned before. And then I started volunteering at the Chestnut Retreat Center, and this is, again, not something that I initiated, but it is one of my leadership efforts where I engage in a lot of community service. This is a picture from when I was a part of a Habitat for Humanity project with some of my friends. And we do a lot of, food pantry visits. We go to a lot of interfaith events. And I really developed my public speaking skills at these events because they give the mic to me a lot to sort of host the events. And then also from a friend that I met through Chestnut Retreat Center, we started a sponsor circle. A sponsor circle is a program where you have to gather 5 people, and these 5 people prepare both funds and other needs for a family either from Ukraine or Afghanistan. And we were hosting a family from Afghanistan, and this is a picture of us recently. We gathered together to have dinner with the sponsor circle. But basically, we prepared a house, we prepared funds, we prepared. We tried to help once the family came. We tried to help them adapt to this environment. We tried to help them find a job here. So this was the kind of project that we did with that friend. So those were some of my more volunteer-based or on my personal time kind of projects that I had done. I work for a nonprofit called the Alliance for Shared Values, and I'm a project manager. AFSV is an umbrella organization for Hizmet Movement affiliated organizations that focus on interfaith and intercultural dialogue in the US and Canada. And as AFSV, we were dedicated to helping the civil society achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals through various activities. And we believe that the main key characters that are going to help the Sustainable Development Goals are the youth. And that's why we started the Young Leaders in Civic Engagement Awards program. So this is the project that I'm leading currently. And there's a short video that I want to show you guys. Let me know if you hear the sound. No, is there no sound?
No sound. When you share, please click on share the sound button as well.
Okay, 1 second. Let me see if we can get this.
On the left below corner, you will see share sound.
The thing is, like, the sound isn't coming on my laptop either, so it's okay. Skip the video and maybe I'll share you guys the link and you can share it with everybody. All right. So the Young Leaders in Civic Engagement program is currently just for US and Canada. And I know we have a lot of international participants here. So I suggest, when you guys are listening to the YLC program, to think of it as an opportunity of this kind of project that maybe you can start in your own countries or in your own communities, or hopefully maybe in the near future we can open this up to a more international group as well. So maybe we can accept applications from overseas, but for now it's just US and Canada, and it's for high school and college students. So once again, if you are in a position in your community where you have high school and college, and I know some of you may be high school and college, but I think we said the age is from 18. So I think it could be a various range of age here. And if you have access to high school and college students that are interested in these kinds of projects, it's very important to recognize their efforts and also to be a motivation for them. because that's the reason why we started this. We highlight ongoing and new civic engagement projects, and we recognize the efforts of the young change makers who demonstrate leadership skills. So, and through these projects, they build relationships in their communities, and they also work together toward a positive change. So what they do is basically they have to be a group of 3. They have to have a mentor. They submit a project proposal, and the project proposal has to do mainly 2 things: address a social concern, so help something that's, so help something in their community, and 2, foster meaningful conversation between diverse groups of people. And so after we accept their proposals, the project is implemented, and then our panel of jury evaluate the projects, and we have an award ceremony to award the winners. So I want to show some of our winners from the past years. 2024 YLC is still in motion. We have not, final submissions are not done yet. So from last year's, this is one of our award ceremonies from, I believe, our first year. One of our winners was Girls Supporting Girls, who is a group of passionate high school girls from Chicago. They work to provide feminine hygiene products to women in need. They raised funds, bought the supplies, and they distributed them through various shelters and food pantries. And in this corner, I tried to put the SDG goals that each project sort of addressed. So you can see that here. Climate Enthusiasts of San Antonio is a group of young women advocates from San Antonio, Texas, who are dedicated to spreading awareness on climate change and environmental issues, including organizing actions like tree planting, beach cleanups, and more. They also seized any opportunity they could find, like panels and community events, to give informative presentations to the public. And CISA actually won twice in a year, so we are very proud of them. Youth for Success Platform is a group from Canada who organized seminars and programming on the connection between youth unemployment and crime. They brought together community leaders such as law enforcement and youth to bridge the gap between these groups. FAIR is a group of female college students in the medical field who organize a career health fair for high school and college students. Nurturing Hope is a group of high school students who raise awareness for domestic violence victims living in shelters. They held toy drives for the kids living in these shelters, and they hand delivered them. This year, we have some great projects that are not complete yet, but they are, up and coming. One of our projects created their own coffee brand, and they are, using the funds to fund girls' education in Kenya. Another one of our groups is working on, again, Nurturing Hope is applying this year, and this time they're working on the domestic violence shelters security system. So we have some great projects this year as well that we are looking forward to, award. So there are 1.8 billion young people between the ages of 10 to 24. And if we increase that age to, 30, there's even more. And this is the largest youth generation ever. And, the youth, we want to be contributing to our communities with innovative ideas. And the youth is the main characters who will advance the Sustainable Development Goals. And it's both our responsibility and the older generation's responsibility to empower us and empower the younger generation with the skills and opportunities to make this world better. And I want to leave us with this last quote from the United Nations Secretary General. Meaningful, diverse, and effective youth participation inside the United Nations and far beyond is essential to advancing human rights, addressing the climate crisis, and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. I hope some of the things I said maybe you related to or you found a new perspective on. if you have any questions, I can take them. Once again, thank you for inviting me. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Hayrunnisa. That's a really inspiring story from beginning, and thank you for sharing us your story starting from the beginning. And I'd like to ask our participants to just unmute themselves and ask the questions either from Kehkashan or from Hayrunnisa. And you can just come in the session and please ask your question and be interactive with the speakers.
So from Aidan, good afternoon. I'll
Hello.
have to admit
Good
that
afternoon.
yes,
Yes, I'm available. I can
please
read
go
the
ahead.
question now. Thank you to our able speakers. We have learned a lot. So my first question goes directly to the first speaker, Mrs. Kehkashan. Thank you. It's a pleasure listening to you. You have achieved a lot at your own local committee and other level. So it's indeed full of success and achievement. So my question is that while we had the success part, do you mind sharing the ups and downs and challenges and how you actually mitigate some of these challenges? And secondly, what is your greatest motivation that keeps you moving in this journey? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much for that question. I think that was about the challenges. I think Aidan and Leo had the same question, so happy to answer that. So yes, there have been so many challenges that like throughout the journey on both like personal, like more human fronts and logistical challenge. So the biggest logistical challenge is that organizations, grassroots organizations run by young people, particularly young women and more so young women of color, have historically been underfunded, and that's something that we face on a daily basis. So access to funding is probably the biggest logistical challenge that we have. So over the past decade, trying to change mindsets of people on trying to make them understand that it is lucrative to invest in ground level solutions and not just, the flashy things that you see out in the media that's like a one-off kind of project and that's it. It's about investing in long-term solutions and trying to kind of change the mindset that investing in all of these solutions is it's a good business decision and it's good for the planet and for people as well. So on the logistical front, that is our biggest challenge. On the more personal front, I started out so young, so I faced challenges in the form of cyberbullying, death threats, threats of physical abuse, and all like extreme slander from sometimes even older youth who were threatened by me as a child in a position of power. And most of like the people who like put forward those threats towards me were like older men. So I faced challenges because I was a child and a young person, a woman, and a person of color. So all three of these things combined together, a lot of challenges on that front. And so it made me very, I always wanted to make sure that Green Hope Foundation then was a safe space for those who wanted to create a better world, because when you try to create change, there are always going to be naysayers. And that just comes with the territory. It wish it wasn't that way, but it is. So whenever we implement projects in any community, especially those kind of communities that are, very conservative, like you're gonna face, like we face backlash, and especially if you're trying to work on gender equality, it's like even more so. So, there are challenges all around, and that is why, because of what I've gone through, I try to make sure that Green Hope Foundation is always a safe space, because I know that our members, and especially our girls on the ground who work on all of these issues, face so many other challenges, like people, men coming over to their houses and trying to beat them up, and complete ostracization, all of these things that happen on a daily basis. So, we understand that these challenges are there, and that's why we exist, to work to mitigate all of these issues that are existing out in the world. And in terms of what motivates me, it's the kind of simplest joys in life that motivate me. So, for example, the story of the example of the lady I shared who stayed throughout the bathroom, the toilet building, like the smile on her face after the toilet was we finished building it, that is what keeps me going. When I see the tree that I planted when I was 8 years old, like how big it's grown now, and all of the ecosystem services that it provides, that brings a smile on my face and the faces of my members, and that keeps me going. So it's really about seeing the impact, like the change that we're trying to bring, the impact that it yields, and the happiness that it brings to people, and the flourishing of ecosystems that it brings to the communities that we work in. That is what keeps me going. I know that because we work in so many, to address all these global challenges, we aren't going to see change right away. Like, it's a really long process, but there are all of these everyday changes and impacts that are being made that are super positive, and that is what keeps me going, because I know that if we stop, then it kind of all goes away, and we don't want that to happen. So that's what keeps me going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kehkashan. I hope she answered your question, Suleiman.
Yes, thank you very much.
I was I was seeing a hand raised, but I'm not able to see that right now.
Yes, she can unmute
Finding that.
herself.
Yeah, it was me. Hello everyone.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
My question is for the second speaker, Miss Kalac. Forgive me if I pronounce it wrong.
No, that's good.
What is one thing that really pushed you forward after so many fails that you understand you will be successful? What is one thing that really helped you and motivated you, if you can share?
Yeah, I think after each failure, so after each time, I got excited and I, initiated this project. It was a big disappointment. I felt disappointed in myself. I always felt like I don't think I'm ever going to be able to be a good leader. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to have like a good project that I lead. But I think one was having motivational people around me, like people, like a good support system. I think, and some of these people were in the group that we failed together with, but we sort of just try to bring ourselves up and say, it's okay, this wasn't meant to be. But there's other fish in the sea. We'll find another avenue. Maybe we just need to rest right now. It didn't work out, but hopefully one day we'll find our passion and we'll find what we want to do. What sort of just push, having a good support system and having that mindset of like, it's okay to fail, just keep on reminding myself that. Thank you for your question.
Thank you so much.
So, Kehkashan, she is asking that given the global nature of the Sustainable Development Goals and Green Hub Foundation's aim to achieve sustainability, how does your foundation adapt its approach to different cultures, social and economic context in different countries? That's a really good question.
Yes, that is a really great question, a very important one as well, because for us, because we work in so many different parts of the world, it's very important to understand local context. That includes cultural context as well. And our members are actually from the very communities that we work in. So we operate through like very decentralized approach. So our chapter heads in each country and our members on the ground are the ones who actually undertake the work and do the research, and we, like from other parts of the world, work to kind of support them, so they take the lead in each of their respective countries. And for us, that is very important, because we never want to go into a community and be like, here is the solution, here you go, and this is what you need to do, without considering what their needs and wants are. So in order to not adopt that top-down approach and make it very, very bottom up, we always ensure that those who are taking the lead on each of the projects that we undertake, and to ensure that it's long-term, they're from the communities that we work in. So whether that's, we're working in Caribbean and our members are Indigenous women and girls from those communities, or whether it's Suriname and the children are from the outskirts of Paramaribo, it's all about ensuring that they have the skill sets to be self-sufficient. We are not, we're not just going there and being like, okay, here's the solution and that's it. We are ensuring their long-term sustainability in all aspects. And that is how we make sure that we always are very sensitive to cultural context, to traditional practices, making sure that we're not seen as outsiders, but people who are being like a catalyst for change. And it takes time in a lot of these contexts because mindset shift is very, very difficult. And if someone doesn't want to adopt something, there's nothing that we can do about it, like right then and there, except be like, okay, what is the alternative? So an example I can give is, when we work in a lot of these communities, especially with women and girls, it's very easy to go in and be like, okay, we're going to teach you coding today. And the community will like, no, because they don't even give their girls access to education. How are they gonna start coding? So we start small. Then we're like, okay, we start with basic education. We start with, for example, skills that are already accepted by the community, like sewing, and making sure that slowly and steadily we're able to create change so that then we can get to what we really want to do, to create long-term change, and understanding that sometimes change might not look like the initial solution that we thought about. It might look different because that is what the community wants. So keeping their needs in mind and wants in mind is always very, very important to us. So that is how we function in a global context.
Thank you, Kehkashan. I see now Mustafa unmuted himself. Mustafa, do you have any question? Mustafa Jarma, if I'm not wrong. Jeremy, I'm not able to read any more question. If you already have the access to the previous question, can you please repeat that?
Sure. I think Aidan is no longer with us, but his or her question was pretty much the same that Kehkashan already reflected on challenges to lead youth-led initiatives. And Hayrunnisa also spoke of how she was able to overcome some barriers. Maybe I can pose the last question to Kehkashan, as she has been building her visibility, engaging at different UN entities. And one of the most important missions of this gathering is on similar lines, sharing resources, as JWF is affiliated with the Department of Global Communications. We gather resources, platforms, conference opportunities upcoming, as participants in the room can first participate as listeners, as the audience, do networking, and then we can nominate them to be speakers. So I would really appreciate if you can shortly share your reflections on the importance of being present at UN events, opportunities, the critical achievement that your network that you build up over the years at UN opened new doors for you in terms of building your visibility, credibility with the work that you're leading under Green Hope Foundation. Because I see that for young individuals, being active at UN premises can be seeming like a promise in peril, or something very hard to achieve. Yes, you gotta put the effort in first, but it's possible. And UN is increasing its venues for young leaders every single day. So please share us more on how you were able to achieve most of your work at the United Nations through speaking engagements or other initiatives.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the basis of my engagement at the UN was my ground level work. And I honestly, like when I started my work, it was never like, okay, I have to go to the UN and talk about it. It was basically, how can I create change within my own zone of influence? And that was what brought me to the UN, like being invited to speak about my work. And then I realized that there is this huge gap between what goes on at the negotiating table and all these big UN conferences and what goes on at the ground. So utilizing the space that I had been, invited to give in utilizing that continuously to make sure that I brought to the table the voices of those who were most often left behind, and slowly and steadily creating that change. The basis of my engagement with the UN has always been my work, because it's because of that I'm able to advocate for what I advocate for at different UN processes, whether that's greater access to renewable energy or health equity or gender equality. So that is really the basis of the work. And what we we work with young people globally, and we always try to tell them is that the UN is really not the end all and be all goal. It's about creating positive impact, whether that is at the UN or whether that is on the ground, but always making sure that as a young person, especially as a young person, you have the work to back you up, because that is really where the change happens. So that can be in the professional setting, that can be in a personal setting, in any kind of stakeholder group, but ensuring that you are working to create change while at the same time advocating for the causes that you're passionate about at the UN. And understanding that even if even that is a really long and winding process, and that takes time as well. So when you're seeing that this change is happening really, really slowly there, that is when you understand that the work does continue. So that is really how I function, and Green Hope Foundation also being accredited to various UN bodies, from ECOSOC to UNEP to UNCCD, UNEP, UN Women, UNFCCC. So understanding that this is how we use our voice as young people, and for me as a young person, or just having the work to always back me up, and utilizing it as kind of a vice versa process. So advocate at the UN, work on the ground, get the voices on the ground to the UN, and utilizing these two processes to really bring about change. So as a young person, always make sure that you have your work to back you up, and you can create change everywhere, no matter where you are, whether it's the UN or not. So that would be my answer to your question.
On top of that, I think networking is a good venue to start such initiatives as well. Sometimes you don't know where to start, or you may not have a local work to lead, like your initiative on Green Hope Foundation. But given my decade of advocacy, I know that networking also opens many doors, and we learn from each other. And at the UN, there is a beautiful solidarity among civil society members. So we share resources, we invite one another to conferences, to speak, to disseminate their best practices. So that's why I try to encourage our participants every single time to ask questions, to introduce themselves, because you don't know where the pitch is really. And maybe Hayrunnisa can share her last reflections, as she's very active in a movement where it's people-based, people-centered. So I would love to have her reflections on the importance of engagement, civil society engagement, and then maybe we can wrap it up, say our last goodbyes to our speakers, and move on to the workshop session.
Yeah, thank you, Cemre. Like you said, it's really important to build connections, because you don't know what kind of doors they will open. I feel like sometimes, you have plans in your mind about what you want to do and, who you want to reach, but that door is not easily accessible to you, but it might be easily accessible to somebody else. And so, I'm very thankful to be in a movement and to be working at a place like Alliance for Shared Values and volunteering at Chestnut Retreat Center, where I have a lot of opportunities to network. I think what I do with Chestnut Retreat Center, we have a great community here. We have a great network in the whole, Monroe County. It's called Monroe County in Pennsylvania. It's just some great connections that we have, and we're able to do a bunch of community service projects and a bunch of other initiatives. And it's really important to build those connections, to keep them, continue with them, and hopefully in the future those connections will bear fruit to beautiful projects that I'm sure each and every one of you would be great assets in. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Hayrunnisa. I think we are having hand raised from Lenovo. Do you have any question?
Yes, hello to everyone.
Um,
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here again. I wanted to ask a question to Kehkashan. Yeah, we've been talking a couple of minutes about networking, but when I was just following your presentations, I saw that you have had many projects and in outside your own country, and I was thinking about how did you deal with the authorities, because sometimes when running our projects, we need the local authorities like has our let's say our partners, but sometimes there may be like kind of obstacles to our project for running our project, as you have had many projects outside your own country. I wanting to know how you dealt with the authorities there, because many times you cannot run a project or have a project without the cooperation, without having as partners local authorities, and sometimes it can be really difficult to deal with them. So I wanted to have your experience on that.
Yes, absolutely agree. That is a challenge that definitely does exist because, yeah, for us, again, the networking, yes, is very important, but then it comes back to my like the answer I was giving on the importance of addressing cultural context. So that includes like, seeing what structures already exist within the community and how best we can create meaningful partnerships with those that already exist. And that includes making sure that local authorities, when they do want to get involved, are also seen as partners that we work with and understand where they're coming from, and then slowly creating mindset shifts there. So the fact that our members are from the communities, again, is very, very beneficial because they deal with, like, I am from Canada, but our members are from different parts of the world and work in those communities. And so they are able to make sure that we're able to kind of bridge any barriers that do exist, again, slowly and steadily, on making sure that they understand that we're not, again, just coming in as bulldozers, like just coming in and like creating change and then going away and completely undermining their authority, understanding where they're coming from as well, and seeing how best we can work with them rather than against them. So that is how we work in the communities, because we want to work in a way that has at least conflict as possible, and creating safe spaces for everyone. So for that to happen, we need to make sure everyone is on board. That is difficult at times, a lot of the time, but we make that happen. And that's the way we work with local authorities as well. And we have created very, very successful partnerships, not just with local authorities, but with national governments as well, to make sure that we're able to create positive change, because we don't want to see people, like institutions, as the enemy. We want to work with them, especially those committed to creating change. So that is really how we work with local authorities to circumvent any issues that might arise.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Kehkashan. That was a good answer, and even that was a great question, because many times people ask the same question: then how will you deal with the local authorities? And they don't even allow the young people to do and to implement the initiatives. They believe more to the older generation of that specific country. Thank you for answering the question. I think we can now move ahead to our workshop session, right?
If I may say a few things before Kehkashan and
Yes,
Hayrunnisa.
Mehmet, please.
Yeah, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Kehkashan and Hayrunnisa for sharing your success stories, and not only successes, but with some failures. And you were very sincere and sharing all these experiences with us. I think it's invaluable to all of us to learn about it. And you're doing an amazing job as a young youth leaders. You're making an impact not only in your community but globally. I think that's amazing, and you kind of like show as a role model to all of us. We really appreciate your time and sharing all of these with us. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to say, very nice to meet you, Kehkashan. I'm very honored to share the stage with you. You're very, someone that I look up to. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and wonderful to it's always wonderful to meet like-minded people who are committed to the cause and making a difference. So yeah, thank you all for inviting me to be here today. Very, very glad that I could meet all of you and see you all of you virtually. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you. Thank you for joining us today. And now, as we are moving to the second part of the session today, which is our workshop where we interact with our participants, share some opportunities, and letting them know about the different processes that we are going to do together in different programs as well. So over to you, Mehmet, and
Great.
you're
Well,
having some presentation.
let,
Thank you.
let me share my presentation, and if I can, let's see. Okay, so share the sound here too. Okay, great. All right, now you can see my screen, right?
Not yet, but coming up. Yes, now we see it.
Great. Well, greetings everyone again. So I would like to share some announcements with you. So the Journalists and Writers Foundation, so we are also organizing so many different events to build the culture of peace, human rights, and sustainable development. And this is one of the initiatives that we are partnering with the World Interfaith Harmony Week. And this is an amazing event that happens every year on the first week of February. And this event is based on the UN resolution, which was adopted in 2010, that really promotes interfaith and intercultural understanding among people from diverse backgrounds. And many organizations, individuals, they participate in this movement. And so we are also participating to this, World Interfaith Harmony Week every year. And this event is hosted and led by King Abdullah II of Jordan. And they have been giving awards since 2013. It's called the second UN World Interfaith Harmony Week Prize. And in 2024, over 1,180 events were submitted to this organization, this event. And they have a jury that they honor 3 events every year. And the JWF participated with 2 events. And these 2 events were, one of them was a panel discussion, which was creating a safe space for interfaith dialogue. And so the skills and reflections. So we had amazing speakers from South Africa, Argentina, Italy, and they talked about what are some of the skills that needed to build, interfaith and intercultural dialogue. And secondly, we always focus on empowerment. So we wanted to give a voice to the young people about their interfaith stories. So we had a campaign, digital campaign for the youth to share their stories of interfaith, intercultural dialogue, how they meet people from different walks of life. And so these 2 events really captured the attention of the jury, and we were awarded with the 3rd prize with a bronze medal. So it was a great, achievement for the organization. And as you can see, I just wanted to, share this with you, because as we talk about organizing different events, sometimes you organize an event, but sometimes you participate in other events that's happening around us in our community, in our country, or globally. So that's why I would like you to keep your radars open and see what are some of the opportunities happening over there globally, and participate. And there were three, awards. The first prize was given to an organization from Bulgaria, and they had an interfaith art performance promoting harmony and tolerance. And the second prize was from a U.S. organization called Pikes Peak Habitat for Humanity, and they organized an event bringing community members together to get to meet one another, to share and to network. And that was another amazing event. And the JWF, as I mentioned to you earlier, so we had two events. So what I'm trying to say over here is that as you belong to your community and you belong to different organizations or clubs in your community, let's look out for different opportunities that you can put your event into different platforms that you get recognitions or you get more global visibility. And this was something that the JWF was awarded recently, and I wanted to share this with you. And sometimes, it's I mean, the work that Kehkashan has shared with you, it's an ongoing process. It takes years and years to build that type of network, to find dedicated people to contribute to such events or such organizations. But sometimes, we can develop campaigns. And I just wanted to share a couple of, voices from the youth. And so it's always, good to, start an initiative, but sometimes it's good to become a part of other initiatives. And I would like to share with you later on some of the opportunities that you can be a part of. And let's, hear this one. So these are, I will just show you like two, short video clips. These are like 1 minute or maybe 2 minutes.
This age of globalization needs to wise people in each faith who can examine their sacred writings and traditions in order to identify aspects that can benefit all humanity, as well as those that preserve each religion's naming. United Nations designated first week of Feb as Interfaith Harmony Week every year. I call on people to honor divine theology in a way that encourages respect, understanding for the benefit of all communities and peace in the world. Let's celebrate interfaith dialogue.
All right, so this was a great message shared by Syed Muntazir Mehdi from India. And I would like to share with you another message from Kenan Bayraktarovich, and he's from US and Montenegro. And this is his message about his interfaith experience.
Hello, so my name is Kenan Bayraktarovich. And I'm currently a first year in college. I go to Emory University. And my mom, so she was born in the city of Warsaw as a Catholic, while my dad was born in Plav, Montenegro, a small village, as a Muslim. And my mom would eventually convert to Islam when she moved to the United States. However, I still do have the opportunity to observe the values of Christianity through like my grandparents and my relatives on my Polish side. And it really does make for a really interesting dynamic because whenever I'll go to visit like my Polish grandparents, let's say, I'll go for Christmas and still celebrate with them. However, I still do have the opportunity to fast for Ramadan and celebrate Bayram, And I feel like having these two different perspectives, it really influences how I am as a person today. And I really can see and understand many perspectives in many aspects of life, not just regarding religion, And I also suggest that we all take a step even greater than just understanding other religions, when we're exposed to them. So if you see a friend fasting, whether it's for Yom Kippur or Ramadan, maybe try to fast alongside them just so that they don't feel alone. Or maybe try to read a few pages of a friend's Bible, and see in the lens of them, Watch videos to understand the true meaning behind and history behind like Confucianism or Hinduism. And because after all, there are still many lessons to be learned from all of us, no matter what God we believe in. So yeah, thank you for listening.
So just like Kenan and Mehdi, we had amazing comments, reflections from you young people from different parts of the world. And so these are opportunities I really highly recommend and encourage you to take action and to participate and be a part of like the global youth, sharing your reflections and sharing your thoughts and experiences with the rest of the world. So this is more like an announcement that I wanted to share with you. But now I would like to go back, and this is our third session, and we organized this Global Youth Leadership Program with some goals. And really, one of the goals for this program was youth leadership. So how can we, help young people to achieve their dreams, fulfill their dreams? And one of the ways to do this is through webinars, of course, to bring people really who achieved amazing successes and to share their stories. But more importantly, we would like you to become more active, players in this program, and we would like you not to be listeners, but to become active, interactive, individuals and participants. So that's why this really, emphasize hands-on experience, hands-on learning, and collaboration among our friends. So we, up until now, so this we have the first, second, and this is the third session. So we are, bringing some resources, some opportunities at the United Nations on different global platforms. But we also would like you to, build a kind of a network with different friends who are joining us, and everybody has different experiences, everybody has different ideas, and people have among us different initiatives in different local communities, so we can become a part of it, we can support one another. So that's why having the same hands-on experience and collaboration among ourselves is really important. And the second goal for this program is to, okay, I think we have a poll as well. So we have, let me just, as Jemre mentioned, so we will have 3 polls for you guys. So so we would like you to take your time to respond to these, okay? And the second one is the 21st century skills for global citizenship. These are really important for all young people to attain these skills. Otherwise, according to a research that I read in 2010 by National National Institute for Education, it says for those young people, students who have not achieved or obtained the 21st century skills will lag behind others. And what are these skills? And I'm going to be talking about it. Of course, our world has become globalized, and we have different identities and we have national identities, but we also need to develop a kind of global citizenship identity that we should be responsible to the planet, to the people, and anything that's happening over the seas or anything happening globally really impact our local communities as well. And the other thing that we wanted to achieve in this program is to support innovative youth-led projects and programs. So we would like to hear from you, what projects that you are a part of, what programs are you a part of? You could be a leader, you could be a supporting member of this initiative, and we really would like to learn about these youth-led initiatives, and we would like to support you in achieving your goals. And another thing is that it's important that we help you with your personal growth and academic excellence and professional development. So that's why we're bringing a really great network of speakers and then to learn from their experiences and then share with different resources with you. And but of course, all these opportunities and resources we are sharing with you, it really takes action. So we really need to take action to make benefit of this. So let me just open up a little bit about the global citizenship. So as the world has become a global, global then anything happening overseas are having sometimes positive or negative effects in our local communities. So we have so many global challenges, and as we learn about the UN Sustainable Development Goals, all these goals actually are to mitigate these global challenges. Some of them are social, some of them are economic, and some others are environmental. We also have, political and other issues as well. So let's think about, the global, health crisis of COVID-19, right? It started at some place in the world, and it spread all over the world, and we were all impacted, and we had lost so many lives and loved ones for the COVID-19. So everything that we think about, we really have to think at the global level as well. So that's why we want to empower youth and encourage them to become, organizers, taking action, and how to, mitigate, social, economic, or environmental issues. And Kehkashan was a great example of, with her Green Hope Foundation, trying to, mitigate some of the, problems or challenges in Bangladesh, Kenya, Canada, and so forth. Just like, Hayrunnisa, she is, focusing on civic engagement, bringing young people to make a difference in their society. And the other one is, like embracing diversity. So as we have become global, so we are now communicating, engaging, interacting with people from different parts of the world, with different cultures, religions, ethnicities. So that's why it's important that we kind of like learn about different cultures, languages, and people, and so that we work together as a whole. And another one is like taking action. Really, we really would like you to to be inspired by young role models, just like Kehkashan and Hayrunnisa and many others. And you are also youth leaders in your community, in your country. Then you will be inspiring younger youth members in your society. All right, so we talked about these 21st century skills. So these are like creativity. So, how can we come up with some innovative ideas to mitigate these challenges, to look out of the box, to come up with different ideas, and using the new digital tools, technology, and artificial intelligence, and to look at it from a different perspective, because everything is changing, nothing is staying still. So that's why creativity is important. And the other one is the critical thinking. So that really stimulates the analytical and thinking and problem solving skills, as we have so many challenges at the local, national, global levels. So it's important that we have, the critical thinking skills, and then, looking at it, looking at the issue at the local level, global level, looking at the, like root causes, searching or researching on, the data that is being available, and then, engaging all stakeholders to, work on these problems and issues. And another one is collaboration. Really, we cannot achieve this by ourselves. So it's important that we collaborate with, different, members of the society or different colleagues. Just like us over here, we have, youth leaders from 22 countries, and it is our goal to, like collaborate among each other. So we really would like to hear from you. What projects or programs that you are a part of, and how can we collaborate among each other to support one another. And the other one is communication, of course. It's not only learning languages, but it's also like the developing effective skills to communicate, to express ourselves. As I showed you the videos, that's one way of communicating with the global world, okay? So it's how you spread the messages of peace, or how you disseminate your project, your information with the rest of the world. So these are, like the 21st century skills. And in this program, again, we would like to build teams. And as I will talk about later on, we will have committees and groups. So it is to emphasize a teamwork, that we have so much to learn from one another, is peer learning, and also a sense of belonging. So we will be together for 12 months, right? So we would like to build that sense of community, a sense of belonging, that we will start working on different issues together. And also peer learning is important because we're coming from different cultures, different environments, different countries, and that entails different experiences, right? Life experiences. Sometimes it's different academic backgrounds that we're coming from. So that's why it's important that we learn from one another. We exchange ideas, information, or resources among ourselves. And the other one is, like sense of belonging. What really motivates us. I think, one of the things that really motivates me is the sense of belonging. I'm a part of the GWF team. So we have an amazing dream team that I call that we work together. We are a small team, but we do a lot. And as Hayrunnisa mentioned about the Hizmet movement, she feels like a sense of belonging to that. And that, really creates resources and also, like motivation to keep going. And of course, what are the benefits? It enhances engagement, motivation, and academic success. So that's why, in this program, we really would like you to meet and engage and exchange and take action for an impact. So, and I'm coming to my end. So innovation, artificial intelligence, and technology integration. So it's really important as, like young people to think, out of the box and using the, artificial intelligence in our careers and our academic excellence and also our projects. So that's why, it's important to utilize technology, using the digital tools and enhance, for, our projects and enhance our learning. And so let me go to my, okay, so my last, all right. So if, like concluding, my, this presentation is, so we really would like this, project, this, global youth leadership program to become a hands-on experience for you. And we would like you to, learn different skills and to become global citizens and build a network of like-minded individuals. And we have, as I said, so many youth leaders from different parts of the world. And I know that you're doing amazing work with different organizations that you belong to. We would like to hear about it. And lastly, what I would like to say, since the first session, we have shared, so many resources with you guys in terms of UN careers, internship opportunities, fellowship opportunities, or participating in different conferences or events. So we really would like you to take action, because otherwise, if you are coming and listening to the speakers, being motivated, but if you're not really, act on it, then you will not benefit much out of it. So, so that's why it's important that you take action and then, benefit more from it. So now I would like to have a little discussion about this. And also we shared, 3 polls with you. Jimre, did we have did we have the responses in terms of the polls? How are we doing? Or, I would like to really get feedback from you guys in terms of have you, applied for these, UN careers, internship opportunities, or so I really would like to open up the session to you guys and to share, what have you done?
So I entered 2 of the polls, in fact, because we also have one Google Drive in the chat where Priyanka kindly asked participants to write their names in their interested committees. So I skipped the 3rd poll, but we have the first one. Have you visited the career websites, resources, and how satisfied our participants are? Any suggestions? I entered long answer options. So at this moment, I'm not able to see the answers, but for number 1, yes and no question. About 55% of the group did visit the resources. Maybe some applied for internships. We have about 10 minutes, and I suggest, as you did, to open the platform. I think we are short of time for any breakout sessions, but please take the next couple days to write your names in the sheet. It will be available for your access. But now the floor is yours. Let's speak on these questions about resources. Anybody has any plans for any internships, fellowships, any assistance required for writing a cover letter, any mentorship, or about overall reflections on the program? Please take the floor. We need someone to
Jammer,
break
just
the
to
ice.
add some more. Yes, I would
Go ahead.
like to, because I have something to share with all of you, as I share a link in the chat box, and even 11 and 12 people are already in the sheet and writing their names. So I just want to remind you that, you know, we talked about different working groups. So just go to the sheet and please write and type your name. As a few of you already asked me by direct messaging, you can always join multiple groups. So there is no obligation that you only have to join only one group. So feel free to write your name to different groups as well. And we are recording, and then we'll be contacting you, and we'll be adding to the specific working groups. And Mehmet can also talk more about that as we move forward. And meanwhile, please ask your questions regarding the polls. And if you are having any other problem, maybe any suggestions, maybe anything that we can improve, any feedback or any comment, feel free to unmute
Bianca,
yourself
can
and
you
go
add a
forward.
couple more lines? For example, the climate action group, I'm not able to add lines at this moment.
Okay.
You know, I really would like to hear at least, you know, like a couple of people, their experiences as they visited different UN career websites. So please just, you know, like share, you know, your overall experience. You can raise your hand so we know you, or you can just unmute yourself. Okay, go ahead, Suleiman.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for always giving us the opportunity. And throughout the start of this program, I've been able to visit some of the recommended websites, and I've been able to delve and see some of the criteria for applying some internships, fellowship, and all other opportunities. But my personal experience with most of the internship and fellowship is that there is some criteria which put me in a situation whereby I cannot apply. Like some of the internship fellowship program may be for a specific country, and sometimes some of the fellowship at the end may require someone to sponsor himself and the rest of it. So these are the kind of experience I've been facing, and throughout I've been able to apply in one certain fellowship program which is open for everyone, which as part of the criteria, when selected, they will even fund, they will support with the funding and every other thing. So that's the only one internship program that I have been able to apply. I wanted to recall the name, but I can't at the very moment. I'm sorry. But it has been a wonderful experience. I've been learning a lot, and God willing, we'll keep on trying, and we'll see what we can be able to achieve through these opportunities that you keep on putting to our table. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you
where are
so
you
much.
based? Just ask. Which country you're participating from?
Nigeria, I guess.
Nigeria?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I would like to talk about, Suleiman's reflection experience is that sometimes, if you want to apply for an internship or any opportunity, if you let us know, maybe, like we can help you throughout the application process. Maybe if you needed someone to write a recommendation letters or reference, a person like that you would like to give a reference. So, like let us know as you are applying to any application, to any internship, fellowship, or any programs. So we are here to help. Okay, so I just wanted to mention. So let's continue with Lenovo.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm taking the floor from Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. My concern is not too much different from the one of Suleiman. Me too, I went through the website, the recommended websites, and I went through it, and there are many opportunities there. But the things that it's about the criteria, and one of the problems that I met there is that it's about the countries, the specific countries that are concerned. Uh, I can't find the country like projects related to Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire or nearby Cote d'Ivoire. This is first. The second, also there's sometimes there are some opportunities that fitted to me, but when I look at the age, the criteria of the age, that was also a problem for me. Specifically, me, I was looking for internship related to education, like with UNICEF or I don't know, but I couldn't particularly find an opportunity that through which I met all the criteria, all the requirements. I mean, so I wanted to ask the question: how can we? What can we do that, right about that?
Yeah, I think what I can say, Jemre can also, talk about it as well. But this, excuse me. So this is a process, and so when you apply or when you search different opportunities at the given resources, so you're learning about what are the requirements. Sometimes, maybe we are not there yet in terms of fulfilling the requirements, but this is the path. This is, something, like let's say if there are some, requirements that you are not fulfilling at this time, but so it's a learning experience that now you know what to do. So you know what, things that you have to do. So that's one way of looking at it. And again, in terms of the opportunities, some of the, let's say UN opportunities, they are in your local community, like in your country, but sometimes they are globally. So that's why, you have to, be open to maybe travel within, your limited resources, of course, but it's just like an ongoing process. You have to keep going because the resources that we have shared, it's updated every, every month, every week. So there are new opportunities that are being updated over there. Jemre, you want to add anything on that?
Well, sometimes I suggest that you tackle the requirements. For example, for early career jobs, let's say the requirements list that you should have 5 years of expertise in a given area, but you only have 2 or 3. Please go ahead and apply anyways, because you don't know who else is applying, and there might be something in your resume or CV that really resonates with that position or with that organization. So you can never be 100% sure what the job hunters are really looking for. So try to polish your own experience as much as possible, and don't really be 100% focusing on the requirements. Of course, meeting the expectations is surely important, But try your best. And from my expertise, I think these attempts are really helpful, because every single time you will see that you will edit your cover letter once more. You will maybe along the way add another perspective to your CV, and these are all taking practice. One or twice of failures or not hearing back from any of the internships. Yes, it might be heartening time to time, but these are all experiences, and maybe you will succeed at the 10th version of your cover letter. Who knows? So without trials, it's really hard to improve. But I suggest that you don't fixate on requirements.
And I think it's important to use the social media, especially LinkedIn, because many people, when they, when you apply for a job, they look at your LinkedIn account. And Priyanka is very good at using her LinkedIn account, sharing, sometimes informations, program that she's attending. So Priyanka, would you like to talk about how you use your LinkedIn and, create your profile?
Yes, thank you, Mehmet. Yes, definitely. I can even tell my story in very brief, and how the professional network is very important. We know many social media accounts there, but they are more like fun, to be more active there. But the more professional platform you ever could have is LinkedIn. So if you don't have any account on LinkedIn yet, then please just sign up that and build an account and connect with us, follow us, and then there will be many opportunity that we can even share to each other there. And you will be simply finding the people of your interest. For example, when I was also like you in the beginning, I started my journey in 2019, and I was looking for different opportunities. I didn't have any opportunities. I was so so desperate to find different opportunities. So what I used to do after my dinner was like scrolling Google every time and checking that youth opportunities to learn and grow. There were many options. Then it was the same for me as well, that I was not eligible for different programs, maybe because of my country's residence or age, or some criteria, or my education or something like that. But then I was a part of a program, and then they told me about LinkedIn, and it was the first time that I ever hear that there is something called LinkedIn. Of course, I have seen some logos, but I didn't know what is that for. So I built my profile in 2019 on LinkedIn, and I started looking at, wow, people are doing amazing work. They are they are shining, they are building their professional careers by and showing that. So it was very inspiring for me. And by time, I used to get connected with different people who are having the same interest that I'm having right now. I'm having my interest in health, as I'm a doctor. So I build a community who are having the same interest of being an advocate, being a youth leader, than being a doctor. So please go ahead and build your profile, and you can just search our JWF, in that, and you will be finding us all there. Just connect with us, and then we will love to share different opportunities, and we will love to support you all there. And there may be opportunity. You can easily also find some jobs, some internship, and some different things. So that's very important. Thank you very much for reminding me this. I also wanted to share this experience with all of you.
Thank you, Priyanka. Zeliha, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, hi everyone. I would also like to say that I'm very grateful for the possibilities and for the opportunities we are presented. And I have also visited the website, but the lack of applications I have sent out for internships is, I think it's a more personal problem on my side, because I'm on my last year of high school, and the time frames for internships vary greatly from internship or fellowship to another one. And as of right now, because I'm still at school, I do not really know what the next couple of months will look like for me. So, but I would love to say that, or I want to say that the conferences, the sessions we're having have helped me immensely in regarding which direction I want to go to after high school. So after finishing, I would love to apply for a specific internship in a specific, area or field. And these sessions have helped me to realize, okay, which topics am I most interested in, or in which direction would I more want to go. So I'm once again very thankful for the opportunity. And as I've said, I'm kind of waiting for the future to take a more certain shape for me to decide, okay, when will I be able to do this, or when can I do this, and in what shape or form. But thank you all.
Thank you, Zeliha. It takes patience, and also all these internships, fellowships are very competitive. There are hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world are applying for these. So if you apply for once, if you're not selected, do not be discouraged. Apply again for the next opportunity, because sometimes organizations or persons, the committees, they want to see how dedicated the applicants are. You applied once and then next year you apply again. So, you will, remind yourself to them again. Let's go with Ayuba.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. First, I want to thank the Journalists and Writers Foundation for this wonderful platform. Actually, before I started this program, I didn't know about a lot of opportunities that I'm finding out here. So after that, I checked some of the fellowship and other scholarship programs on the UN website. And after that, I even checked some outside the website, outside the UN platform. So first, I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity, because these are really life-changing opportunities that have been around us, but we've never had access to, probably due to ignorance and all that. There are things that we didn't pay serious attention to. For instance, the LinkedIn that you've mentioned during our last meetings, I've had it on my phone and computer almost for a very long time, but then I've never paid attention to it. But from the moment you mentioned it, I started seeing the opportunities there. And even though I've not applied for most of the fellowships I've come across, I have intentions of doing that. And earlier I had plans of asking if we could ask you to help us with the application procedures, but when my colleague, my friend Haruna was talking, you mentioned that after that we could actually ask you for directions and all that. So I want to thank you a lot for this opportunity, and I'll try my very best to see I make the most out of it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Ayuba. Our success is your success. So we are always over here to help you, to assist you. If you want us to, go over your resume, your cover letter, or any application that you are planning to do, so you let us know, and we will definitely, give time to you, and and try to make sure that you look good in your resume. And I know that we are kind of out of our time, but just wanted to share with you just one opportunity. I don't want to go into detail, but I shared the link on the chat box. But this is another opportunity that can give you some kind of recognition. So this is not only for yourselves, but you can do this with other young leaders in your community. So this is an initiative by the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations. It is called Plural Plus Youth Video Festival on Migration, Diversity, and Social Inclusion. I highly, invite you to go through this website. We shared it with you, and then what you can do, you can, create a short video, as I shared with you guys in the beginning, like 1 or 2 minutes. So you want to give your voice, right? You want your voices to be heard by the global world. And this is a platform for this. And it could be about migration, diversity, social inclusion. And there are different categories. It could be 12 years and younger, 13 to 17, and 18 to 25. So you guys can do this, or you can be a mentor for younger people to participate in this. And they have recognitions so you can get, really good, recognition out of this. So I just wanted to share with you. And Jimry, you wanted to show some of the polls answers. Okay. So it shows that 63% of the participants, they went through the UN Careers website and other resources. I think that's a good, good amount. And we really highly encourage other participants to, to go visit these websites. At least you get to learn, you know what's expecting you. Okay. So you are in your early, academic studies. And then let's say, as you get to, to the end of your academic, careers, then you will go into your professional, right? So you know what's expected, so that you can fulfill all these requirements as you are preparing yourself. And then we ask, how satisfied are you with the program? And we have 88% satisfaction. Thank you. This is a great feedback for us. But we are open for any ideas, any recommendations from you guys. If you give us a feedback, this is what we're expecting. These are some of the things that can be implemented in this program. So we are happy to make these additions to our program. We can redesign it according to your needs. And Jimry and Priyanka, it's over to you. I mean, I've done my part.
Thank you, Mehmet. Priyanka's shared link will remain open. Please go ahead and fill in your names. What we will do moving forward is to create WhatsApp groups. But given how small our team is, we then will be looking forward for your leadership. Of course, we're always open to engage. But when we established the teams, I had a couple questions in the chat asking how many times the groups will meet, when and where. These are all be decided within the group by yourself. Please, when we establish the WhatsApp groups and assign mentors, go ahead, decide if WhatsApp is the best option or Zoom or elsewhere. It's going to be all up to you, and we will be available here to answer your questions on events planning, applications, career development, and what have you. So I think next month will be a great opportunity. Maybe we can extend our workshop session a little, cut the first session. Maybe we can host one speaker and whatever, so that we have more time to engage on what's expecting us. But in the meantime, we'll be, I believe, opening up the WhatsApp groups so people can start engaging with each other. And as of now, I ask that you continue considering to sign up to the committee groups, and we'll remain in touch. Priyanka, anything missing?
Thank you, Jamber, for reminding the important points. Suleiman, as you are writing that you are having some problem in writing your name, I just added your name to the climate action group, so no problem. I just copied your name and added. So yes, the link will be open and you can easily access that. Please write your name. The other thing is that I also shared a link where everybody of you is eligible. There is no criteria to be eligible, nothing mentioned about the country and all. So that's a great opportunity. And that's an international youth conference. I already shared the link in the chat and also in the group. So you can easily nominate yourself or someone else to be a speaker, because that's a great opportunity for you to get your recognition if you are working on some projects and some initiatives in your community and want to be a speaker, or you are an expert or working on some, even if you don't have any experience, then just fill that form and you'll be having a great opportunity to get the global attention, and there will be many young people like you, so you'll build your network. I already shared the link, and you can always ask your questions in the group as well, so we will be more than happy to answer any question. So yes, that's only my concluding remarks for now. Mehmet, if you are having anything else, then we can.
No, I mean, I just want to thank every one of you for coming to this program, and I'm happy that you're joining us, and it's really important that we help you with your personal growth, academic, and professional development. So we are always here. Do not wait till the next session. So you can write to us personally, or you can write anything in the chat box in the WhatsApp group. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for today's participation. See you next month.
Thank
Bye.
you so much.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you.